how do I know when me and my Frenchie are ready for a second puppy? So we've had some instances, and some of them are recent, but we've had some instances lately where people have decided to adopt 2 or 3 Frenchies at the same time. And we always say that Frenchies travel great in pairs. I know that Helen and Debbie had mentioned that, or Sandy had mentioned, no, Helen, yeah,
Helen
had mentioned that other Frenchies were traveling together. But getting Frenchies is a lot of work. And we know that a lot of times that getting a second one at the same time, or even a third one at the same time, is going to be very, very challenging. But in our experience, older Frenchies bond really quickly with the new puppies. So if you have a Frenchie in the house and your Frenchie has actually bonded, Frenchies love the companies of other dogs. So it has a lot of benefits to getting the second Frenchie. For example, if you get a second Frenchie, they're less likely to have separation anxiety, for instance. So you don't feel so bad for leaving them at home because they have a playmate, they have somebody to play with. And it's also a good idea if the older pup has gotten a little lazy. We know that as a puppy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, starts to lounge around the house and get really comfortable. They need that extra stimulation to have somebody to play with and have somebody to socialize with. So when an active younger pup comes into the house, the older pup becomes more active, and it kind of joins into the fun. So it's also good for their health. So if you've been considering getting a second puppy or a third puppy, Helen, but it's a telltale sign that if in fact you're ready for another Frenchie, don't worry about getting the second one or about your Frenchie getting jealous. What we find is that the second one or the third one, adding it in, is always a great idea. And usually they bond really well and get along really well together. Okay, so that was a good question.
Yeah.
All right, so
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
So one of the participants that I helped get over her panic of picking up her Frenchie at the airport ended up with a situation where she had brought the first TomKins Frenchie into her family where she had an older dog, and they bonded very quickly. The older dog died suddenly from natural causes, but nothing that they had anticipated. And she struggled with, do we get another one right now? They were bonded. My new TomKins is only 8 months old. She did end up getting that other puppy. She was hoping to be on today and was going to share this, but she ended up with Christmas. That second puppy came in and they are inseparable. She said the bond was instant, that she never realized how close Frenchies are to each other. So all that fear and anxiety of bringing another one in and bringing another one in after the loss of one was amazing. She said TomKins walked her through the personality traits that would work well in that situation and helped her pick the absolute perfect dog.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And it's something to elaborate on that. A lot of times we get asked the question, is it better to have a male and female, or if you have a male to bring in another male, or if you have a female, vice versa. But one of the things that we always talk about is personalities. Frenchies aren't known for being super dominant, so either it's a male or a female, but usually a male and a female is going to balance out well, kind of the yin and the yang. But when you actually have 2 males, a lot of times we find with 2 males, they get along perfect together. Again, if they're older and younger, the older puppy is always going to look down at the younger puppy as the baby of the family.
Yeah.
And the older one is going to look at the younger one's going to look at the older one and learn from it. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a male and female together or 2 males, I think it's really important to kind of bond with their personalities. Sometimes it could be their playfulness. Sometimes it could be. So even though most people are going to say male and female is kind of the golden rule, we think that it's okay sometimes for 2 males, 2 females. And I think it really just depends on the puppies. But as we've noted, Frenchies bond really well together. So
and again, it's being prepared.
Yeah.
For the second or third puppy's arrival. It's very, very important. That's obviously it's a long procedure. You have to be there and make sure that this bonding is going in the right direction. But other than that, there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah, good point. Yep.